Alright, time to finish this. Hey everyone, this is Mikoy. Welcome back to the final episode of the Tourist Plaza Classic podcast, where last time we discovered the Elite 8 is gone and the Elite 4 are in. And this time we're going to cover all three sets of the semifinals and the finals of Tourist Plaza Classic. Let's just say that the winner may not or may surprise you. So, first off, in the semifinals, we have these three chosen tiers. It was originally only one, but because it is TPC, it is the semifinal, so it should be three different tiers. So the tiers chosen are Gen 4 OU Kamamons, which is a personal favorite of mine. Stab Mons, which is Gen 8 is not as good as Gen 7 Stab Mons, and Gen 6 AAA, which I always found pretty interesting to build for. First off, we got Shadow Master versus Doron. This one was a pretty bad series, not gonna lie. It didn't either player didn't really had a strong showing, I would say. First of all, I do not like the look of Shadow Master's team. Maybe it could be a sample, but I just don't like the Oxys speed over here. The Manaphy, the Victini, the Tyrant are fine choices, but the rest just don't fit well, like Honchker and Entei. Nah, that wasn't really the best building choice IMO. The game itself wasn't really relatively cannon fodder. It was a pretty easy game in hindsight. Um, there were a couple of moments which I found pretty funny. First of all, the Desolate Land Heatran doing pretty well, and Mew's skill swapping to get rid of T-Tar's adaptability, which was pretty nice. But overall, Doran just played a relatively easy game. I mean, Heatran was doing so well. There's a skill swap that I mentioned. Tyranitar having Prankster and Mew having adaptability, which is pretty nice. But towards the end, you can really tell that Doran really played a pretty easy game in hindsight. Shadow Master didn't really have anything to counteract that. Counteract the Madfig, counteract the Zapdos. Even the fact that Entei was over there just extreme speeding and sacred firing everything, it really didn't help matters. But yeah, that was pretty bad. Gen 8 Stabmons was a little better. I don't know. Yeah, well, actually, no, it wasn't much better. I know exactly what this game is. So, these two brought samples because the OMM's community are really just like hyping up these particular samples in general. There were a couple of plays which I found really, really weird. Like one incoming right now. Um, as you can see, the Hydreigon was very crippled thanks to having Eterna Beam instead of what Dynamax Cannon or Draco Meteor. And it's up against, Zapdos Galar, which involved against Chansey, which was okay, I guess, but, having to go to substitute and then going for Eterna Beam against this thing, it's okay. It's an okay play in hindsight, but it's not really the best play, as you would have easily gone to Buzzwole in that scenario, or Urshifu, or even Doublade. Is that really doing anything against the Chansey? So, not really the best showing here. Um, Towards the end, again, this one is another one of these cases where it's just a relatively easy game. Not really much happens. In hindsight, but and yeah, the rest of the game was just interesting. It was surviving hits. It was doing nice damage. It was doing nice body press damage towards the middle until it got burned, thanks to I believe it was. See, here's the body press damage, as you can see. A nice set, a pretty nice set. I know it's like a friggin' sample set in general, but still, it's not really that good. There's the burns. There's the skull burned, which really put a stop to Shadow Master's reign of terror, and ultimately in the end, Shadow Master just really didn't play. It seemed like he was out of it. Um, there wasn't really that much to go off of. Doran just relatively played better. Ultimately won. Kind of a disappointing semifinal game, this one. And Shadow Master, he did say himself that he's going he's in top four thanks to his opponents being act called, and both losing both his matches to RNG sucks. Really does. And as someone who has lost a tour thanks to hacks before, I know exactly how that feels. Next up is Precorfish versus Tenebrasite, the other semifinal game, and this one is loads better. Loads better than this other semifinal, which is really saying something. Um, Gen 4 Camamons. This one was a pretty interesting game. Precorfish really wanted to catch that Destiny Bond. You really wanted uh some mon to go down thanks to the Destiny Bond. After setting up one layer of spikes, each to be honest, I think it would have done better if he had three layers of spikes in, but that's just me. There's the seed bomb, Breloom goes down. Explosion on the Latias was very unexpected, this Metagross play. I guess he was trying to catch another like Pokemon, but again, the explosions are really weird. Uh, uh, you got to play around it really weirdly, and explosion and on the Latias was certainly a good play in hindsight. Um, Towards the middle, though, we saw Rotom getting some usage, Dragon Dancers, and this is where the turning point happens. See, Tenebraside he had a paralyze, which was one. Gyarados revealed Lumberry, which most Gyarados should run if they want to do the sweep. Um, Jirachi tried to paralyze it again, just to cripple that speed. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case, and it died. And then Gyarados just went and swept the rest of the game. So very, very good play there by Precorfish. Next up is the Gen 6 AAA, which we saw the same team again of this particular team right here. Mew, Garchomp, etc., etc. It's the same. I think it's the same. Actually, it might have been the same two teams that we saw in the last game. Maybe that's why I wasn't really that hyped about it. It's basically the same two teams. I do not like this sample. Well, if as you can tell, I do not like the sample. So this one was a bit iffy to look back on, but having watched these games, really came down to one particular set, which was Swampert. He had a pretty cool set of Curse, Earthquake, Bulk Up, and or Curse or Bulk Up, Earthquake. Oh yeah, and I should point out that Honchkrow not killing the Manaphy was a pretty big surprise. It did only 89. I'm guessing that was a roll, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it's this Stallbreaker set of Poison Heal Swampert with Curse, Earthquake, and Waterfall, which was very deadly until threatened by Heatran. This was the only threat that came about this particular set. The rest of the game, him Skarmory did crit Garchomp at one point, but that really didn't at the long run. After a while, Tenebrasite just didn't really have ways to go off of the remaining game, and then Precorfish just had a better team by the end. Even though he had more mons, like yeah, Precorfish just played better towards the end. It wasn't even a close shave. It was pretty good. So that was semifinals taken care of. Let's take a look now at the finals and see what happened here. First match was UU Monothread. Oh, take a looking at the tiers for the finals. We got doubles mashup. Never seen that before. Maybe it's a combination of multiple different doubles, those OMs. LCAA, the current at least. A Gen 7 monotype and stab, always a favorite. Camo Ubers, another interesting in the landscape of TPP, and Gen 8 OU Monothread, which I played quite a bit. when I was on my Gen 8 phase. So, Doran versus Percorfish, Game 1, UU Mono Threat. They had quite the identical teams, wouldn't you say? Except for these two, but the rest are the same. This game was hyper offensive on steroids. Percorfish's Thunderous right here. He had an agility Thunderbolt Sludge Wave. I assume the last set is a Grass Knot or something like that set. So this one was definitely the MVP of this game. Having set up the agility right before he got the Rock Tomb off of, that one was pretty cool. That means that Thunderous could really have can drop a speed and still outspeed the Thunderous, as you can see right here. This Nasty Plot tried to use Nasty Plot, but the Thunderous outsped, got the KO. Very very cool. And then the rest was history, as you would say. So Doran had that threat still in play. Oh, Sludge Wave. Sludge Wave was the last one, not Grass Knot. So he had this in play, which in turn could kill pretty much everything on this team. And then Doran was very unlucky in this matchup, as you can probably tell. He was doing quite a bit of damage. He had quite a bit of a strat in play here, the Celesteela killing the Skarmory, but Thunderous came in, and look what happens here. Archeops misses a Rock Blast. Thunderous kills it. So what do you think? Oh, let's go for an even faster mod, Aerodactyl. Let's see if he can hit the Stone Edge and hopefully kill this wild threat. No, it misses the Stone Edge, and he kills this. So it left to Articuno to handle the Ice Shard. So yeah, the rest of the game, Celesteela, well, basically killed Articuno and the other Celesteela with this Meteor Beam. Ultimately, in the end, wasn't meant to be for poor old Doran. This game 2, which was LCAA. This one was only solely dependent on one turn and one turn alone, and this was turn 1 of all things. Why? Why I say that? First of all, Magic Bounce was a pretty cool set on Marini. Ice Beam got the freeze. Hadn't he freeze, Toad School would actually be a pretty useful ally here, going up against this, and presumably this. Well, you gotta avoid the Ice Beam, but still. Toad Scroll could have been a more useful ally than it was in this game because of that freeze. And for Corfish, just played a better game. I will say these particular sets are very very good against Doran sets here. First of all, the Will-O-Wisp blocking it with Well Baked Body, which is a nice set, very very nice set. And then the bulk up. Here's the Ice Punch going out here. Crabrawler, very I would say an okay Pokemon to bring in LCAA especially, but not to the level, not to the credit of these two. The U-turn doing definitely did good damage here. There's the Night Slash doing wonders here. Just yeah, the end game seeing Percorfish basically kill everything else. Toedscruel was kept alive to kill the Zoroa against the Hex, which was pretty cool. And then the Rapid Spin, not really giving an F about the other Toedscruel. Basically Rapid Spin to get rid of hazards, and then boom. The rest is history, as they say. Also, nice Volt Absorb Marini, though. But that didn't really help matters in the end, because he went for Toxic Spikes and not Surf. Oh well. He'll redeem himself, right? Game 3 was Monotype Stab. And this one, matchup decided everything. You didn't need to have a turn 1 to know that you're running flying against fighting. And it wins 100% of the time. Well, 95% of the time. But you get what I mean. Copyright on that one. But, yeah, Doran had a much more stronger, much more efficient team against the fighting team right here. Even though there were a couple of points in this game that made you think, huh, maybe Procorfish has a tech inside of him that can win. First of all, the Yon Mega surviving this was good. Got spored. So what happens here? Celesteela going for Beak Blast. This went for Clanger's Soul Blaze. Bulletproof, bulletproof blocking the Beak Blast. I didn't know that could do that, to be honest, but it's a good tech. It's a good technique. Um, there's the King Shield, and there's the Dragon Knight surviving the clanging scales because of multi-scale, and then hitting the Flyanium Z allowed it to Oko. Come on, yeah, and that basically that Komao kill was one of the factors that led to Doran's win. That's not the only one though. This steam eruption hit on the steam eruption miss on the Yanmega. Had he hit that, Yanmega would have probably died in the next turn, and then he would only have Landorus left. But Keldeo missing that steam eruption really cost Procorfish to have this game in 3. And Yanmega ultimately had one more turn to live to get up a speed boost. Not wake up. No, not wake up yet. Also, it was Scarf. Also, I'm assuming this was Scarf. And yeah, Oblivion Wing kills the Keldeo, kills the Breloom, and then kills Buzzwole. Very, very nice. So slight comeback there for Doran. Uber's Camo. This was the slowest game of this finals. Admittedly, this one was not to my well, not to my liking, but uh, the game's pace definitely felt slower after those 3 games were just so fast paced. So this one, Procorfish tried for a little more setup approach, a more setup installe approach. So he got hazards up with the Glamora, and then he tried to set up the screens using Grimmsnarl, and then Annihilate comes in, tries to do big damage go big, and then Procorfish just had to really play around that very, very nicely. First of all, the Roaring Moon didn't really do anything, which was unfortunate. The Drain Punch, and then the Rage Fist, because again, Nihilate's OP. Um, the main event here. There's the star of the show, Ting Lu. This guy stalled and walled pretty much everything. Having heavy slam to take care of the potential fairies that might come above. For example, this is Patra. Um, spikes for hazards, and then whirlwind for phasing because you don't want the setup boosting things to absolutely destroy you. Well, fortunately enough, the spikes really do help along with the heavy slam that's about to take place. Very, very nice. And also the fact that Tinglu is that bulky really shows you how much it can stand up to most attacks and really shouldn't be bad to Ubers. But still, good mon with a great set. Ultimately, phased out a lot of Procorfish's stuff. Ultimately, living some of these attacks, which are very nice. And then towards the end, uh, Doran just basically has everything to take out the Koraidon, the Viclazar. Very, very nice. And Doran tied it up. And then we come, to doubles. Doubles. This one was you'll see. It ended very anticlimactically, I'll just say. Both teams brought pretty good double set. I mean, since I've been watching more VGC a lot more than most people, I immediately recognize that some of these mons as roles in VGC is going to be in doubles. I mean, is going to be pretty, tried and true, very standard. Um, First of all, the Glomora coming in to set up the hazards, along with Chin Pao and Arcanine basically doing Intimidate, Hate Swap. Um, very, very cool mindsets to have at first. Protect, okay. This one, and but the Power Gem, pretty nice. You sleep out there. There's the Fake Out on the Arcanine. I know it has Bitter Blade, so Camamons Ones are accepted here. Pull and Puff. There's the Amoongus trying to help out, basically do support. There's the Will-O-Wisp from the Arcanine, very very nice. So and it gets paralyzed with Combat Torque. Amoongus heals it up, and then Dragonite just sits there. Ting-Lu comes in. Here comes the Arcanine. Very very cool. Combat Torque. Dragon Ascent actually ended up killing the Arcanine, and Doron seemed to be at an advantage. But then, timer. Rip. Rip the timer. A very unfortunate, very anticlimactic way to go for Corfish. This could have been a really good doubles game in hindsight. Like, there's a lot of things that could match up to certain Pokemon. For example, the Unbundle could be against the Tinglu and the Arcanine, the Chien Pows, a little Chien Power, and a Azumarill and Dragonite. So in hindsight, maybe Doron would still have the win if he plays his Tinglu well, if he plays his Arcanine well, trying to soften up some of the blows these three have gotten, as well as Chien Pao to absolutely destroy the remaining rest. So yeah, anticlimactic, but it resulted in four good games and one anticlimactic ending. Congratulations, Doron, for winning Tours Plaza Classic or he joins now the ranks of Ham 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 Ham, Raj Dot Shoot, and Saba. And now Doron joins that elite class of people who have won this prestigious tour. So, thank you all for watching Tours Plaza Classic. Pick 4. I hope you enjoyed this coverage. Next time we'll be doing BLT 10, so you very much looking forward to that. And I'll see you next time. Until then, this has been Mikoy, signing out.